Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Mónica Sacristán. I am the Dean for Executive Development at ITAM, and I'm also coordinating the UNICON Leadership Academy along with my friend Kathy Shea and Dennis Lanham, who unfortunately couldn't make it this morning. So it's good to see people, at least from Turkey, I assume. Eylem?
Yes, hi everyone. This is Eylem Özgümüş from Sabancı University Executive Development Unit. And I have been working with Edo as senior development consultant for 6 years. It's good to see you.
Wonderful, too. Catherine, as you were the first, you want to go ahead?
Oh, yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Catherine. Nice to meet you all. I'm working at HEC Montreal Executive Education. So I'll be working with Michelle and Elise on the UNICON 2023. Yeah.
Wonderful. We look forward to it. Jason.
Hey there,
good to
guys.
see you.
Hi. Nice to meet you. My name is Jason Parrish. I'm at UGA's Executive Education Center in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wonderful. So I don't know if Elise, Miguel, and Michelle want to introduce themselves, or they have some sort of problem. Elise.
Hi, sorry, I had some problem with my microphone. So yeah, I'm Elise Clarigo. I'm working with Catherine and Michelle at the Executive Education HEC Montreal. And as Catherine said, we're going to work on the TDC 2023. So we are here to take some information and see how it's going on for the Leadership Academy.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for hosting us. We all look forward to being in Montreal. Michelle.
Yes, hi. So Michelle, I'm in charge of open enrollment programs and also the communications department. So I'm here, yes, of course, because we're going to be hosting TDC, but also because I'm quite interested in the program myself. So serving both interests.
Wonderful. And we have Miguel and a special guest.
Yeah, hello everyone. So yeah, Miguel Ramirez, I work with the Tech Executive Education Program for business leadership programs, and so I am joined by my son Mateo, and yeah, he's not feeling well today, so I'm on double duty. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry he's not feeling well. Take care, Mateo. Wonderful. Well, we're here to talk about the UNICON Leadership Academy, which takes place usually with the Team Development Conference. So part of it, not this year's, but next year's, would have something to do with you guys at HEC. For the time being, we are looking forward to having it work with the conference in Canada. And I say we're looking forward and hoping everything works that way. But as you know, our world has become very challenging and very changing. We're looking forward to our first face-to-face conference for UNICON next week in New York. It's not turning out to be the situation we all expected. We expected to be out of this pandemic, and it looks like we're being dropped back in it. Therefore, I'm going to present to you what is our plan for the UNICON Leadership Academy, what's been the way we've run it for the last couple of years, but exactly how it takes place for the next cohort may vary slightly depending on which way the world goes. We are planning to do this already as a blended program, with part of it taking place online and part of it taking place at UBC when we meet there in November. Okay, so feel free to interrupt and ask any questions you want. This is an informal, it's not a lecture, and I just want to talk to you a little bit of what goes on in that academy. And this is last year's cohort, and they look very happy, don't they? That's because they had a lot of fun bonding with their different colleagues, and we explored a lot of things. And of course, the academy is a living thing. We're talking about the things that are going on in our industry when we speak. So this first online cohort was facing the migration from going from face-to-face to live online, and we devote a lot of time to that. The cohort we have now, which will graduate in July, have been facing different challenges. We're facing the challenges of going back from live to starting to trickle into the face-to-face. That's why I say the Academy is a living thing, because we have an idea of how it flows. I will show it to you in a second, but we also try to make it very targeting the problems we're facing at a particular moment. So what's the idea behind this academy? When Kelly Bean decided to come up with this program, what she decided is we need to develop, inspire, and transform the future leaders of executive education. Executive education is a very difficult business, as you all know. It's different from what goes on in companies, but it's also different from what goes on in the rest of the university. So the Leadership Academy was established to help people like you to seek transition roles to go into leadership positions. This program is based on a mixture of different techniques. Now it's mostly online. And it has to do with teamwork, with projects, webinars. It has a mentoring component with my dear Kathy Shea is in charge of, individual development planning, some peer coaching, and an in-person session, hopefully, that will happen at the same time as the annual conference. So, who takes this program? Well, individuals who want a team leadership development with an executive education industry. They want to strengthen their skills and support their contribution into the industry. It has happened that people who are in this program either move schools or move into other roles inside the university. So that can happen too. We also have people who are already at the director level, but want more experience and want the opportunity to learn from different people in the executive education industry. As I said, when Kelly Bean came up with this program, there wasn't any other. And as far as I'm aware, there isn't any other program in the industry that focuses exclusively on executive education. There are leadership programs done both by AACSB and by EFMD, but they target different university approaches. It's leadership for people in education, but not necessarily executive education professionals. And the difference with this program is we don't have regular faculty. What we do is bring in the most experienced leaders in our industry to share what they've learned and what they're experiencing. So it's a totally hands-on approach. We do teamwork. We have to do different things, and it's built around building a new business model. So we use the business model canvas as the basis of the program. And the idea is to always start thinking about what's changing in our industry, where it's heading, and how we have to adapt. What do our clients want now? How do we create value for them? How do we organize ourselves to do that? So that's exactly what we want to do. What has happened? Yes, some people who've been in the academy have accelerated and they've become directors in their office, but everybody who's been part of this has been able to do their job better. And I've only been leading the academy for 2 years now. It's always been during the pandemic. And I have to say that something that is not here right now is we've been able to establish a lot of support between the people here, because we've been navigating on chartered territories, and it's been hard times for all. So finding out what's going in every other place has been very, very useful. So it is built on different building blocks, which I will explain in a minute, and it's always incremental learning. You will get a UNICON certificate signed by our UNICON Executive Director and the current UNICON Chair. And it is an executive program. We don't let just anybody in. The idea is that people will have to share And therefore, we don't want somebody who knows nothing about the industry. It's not something it's not a primer on the industry. It is to explore deeper concerns that we have. This year, the investment is $1,000. It's more than it's been in the past 2 years because it includes more instruments, and also it will have a face-to-face session in the conference. The conference fee is not included. This only includes the room, the food, and everything we need for that face-to-face session. Any questions so far? Okay. So, as I said, the network is hugely important. We'll touch deeper into that. And we try to understand how to navigate the different stakeholders we face. We have the clients, but we have the university. Yesterday, we had one of our final classes in this year's cohort. And we were talking about the stress between all the client wants and needs and what our universities are set up to do, and how do you navigate that, and how do you negotiate, and what alliances you need. So that's what we're preparing for. We need to innovate. If you go to the conference, or if you've been to any of our online conference, you've probably heard about how the industry is changing or shifting. If we had time to explore, I'm sure all of you have stories to tell that we did not come back to business as usual. We're still struggling. We don't know how much will be face-to-face, how much will be online, what it's going to look like. So the idea is to explore all that, but not just talking about it, but using tools that will let us make the most of it. So this is what the program looks right now. And I say looks right now because we have a first 4-hour session starting in October, and that's a Zoom session. And it works really well for 4 hours if we don't have somebody for Asia, because normally the sessions take place at 9 Central Time, and that allows people from the US and from Latin America and from Europe to sort of be able to work it into the schedule, but it's very difficult for our Asian friends. So depending on that, these 4 hours will be in one session or 2 different sessions in October. In November, we are hoping to be able to meet in Canada, but as I said, that also depends. We don't know what the pandemic will look like. We don't know who will be able to make it there at that time, but the idea is to make sure that at least those of you who can make it have an optional time there. In January, we will start talking about our customers and delivering to our customers. So the first 2 modules, or the first 2 months of the program, we're talking about what's going out there and what we're talking about us, what we're looking for as leaders. But we immediately dive into the business model, and we start talking about what our clients want and who are our clients and who should be our clients, and how do we deliver value to those customers. We immediately talk about how do we reach out to them, how do we touch base with them, and then we talk about how do we monetize all this. How do we make our clients pay for what we're giving them? Because there's a lot of stuff there we're giving out, and once we debundle it, it's not clear if everybody wants to pay. Once we've done that, we build a value proposition canvas, which has to do with what the client wants and what we can deliver. And that's the first part of our program. A program that's focusing outward, what's changing, what do clients need, and what do clients want. We make a stop there and we start working on how we look at the future. Immediately after that, we start talking about operations. Okay, this is what we want to deliver. How do we go about it? Our day-to-day today mostly is taken over by operations, how we make it happen. And that's what we will be talking about. And how we make it happen will depend on the kind of assets we have. We all don't have the same assets. Some universities have magnificent campuses. Others are in the middle of a fabulous city like HEC Montreal. Others are in the middle of a city, but don't have a great campus. So some have Nobel Prize faculty. Some have, believe it or not, fabulous catering. Some are in a beautiful city as Barcelona. So how do you make most of your assets and make sure you build that into your value proposition? And how do you make people pay for those? Okay. Then we will talk about building alliances. And that today, many of you are probably discussing whether you go and work with OPMs. You're talking about what you do with edutechs. There's a lot of talk in universities and a new bunch of models built around how we partner with other schools outside the business school. So that's what we will be exploring. Finally, all this has a cost. So we have to be able to budget it. So all these steps allow us to build a business model, starting with who are we going to serve? What do they need and want? Going back into how do we reach out to them and connect with them? What are they willing to pay us? How do we do it? What assets do we need? Who do we partner with? And what is all that going to cost? So you see, we've covered all the aspects of making a working business model. Finally, it also takes leadership. And we have a master session that has to do with what makes a good leader in executive education. And there you were working with a tool called the Belbin, and it lets you know how good you are working with teams, what you can do. Finally, we will go back to using the business model canvas to bring it all together and bring one coherent value business model. Doesn't mean that's going to be the business model you're going to use. All this is just to provoke you questioning the way we've done things in the past and if we're going to be able to continue doing in the future, or what we need to do to set up ourselves for success in the years to come. Okay, there's also a mentoring part with this run by Kathy Shea, and what she actually does is look at the participants. So Kathy is with us in every single of the sessions, and she looks at the way the cohort is aligned, and she starts thinking of who she can pair people up. And she looks for experienced leaders in our industry, UNICON members, and tries to establish a relationship. Once you make that work, you can have different sessions. It's 2 one-hour meetings at the very least to discuss how your career is going. I personally have happened to be mentored several times, and actually one of my mentors is now part of the UNICON board. One of my mentees is part of the UNICON board. So this really, really helps. The mentoring can go forward if you and the mentor decide it is something you want to continue with. So as I said, the best part of the program is the people who join it. And people have really been thrilled to meet other persons that are in their same industry and business. These are some quotes from people. Jacob is right now in the program, and he's very happy to share stories, experiences, learn from their colleagues. Maria was with us from Chicago last year, and she really loved meeting participants, but also learning from different sectors. We have Kieran from the University of Manchester, who's also very happy. And what he says is this gives you a space to step out of the day-to-day and be able to reflect about what's going on. Karen Se from Hong Kong, and that's why I mentioned it can be very difficult from people from Asia to connect for 4 hours at midnight. Really enjoyed the meeting. We've also had people from Singapore. Dave participated with us from Cranfield. And as you can see in all these testimonials, the people really love it because it gives you a safe environment to discuss what's going on. So very much what I said is sort of the skeleton of the program, but every session varies time and again. as the people I'm using are not traditional faculty, they probably will come and prepare the topic we have assigned to them, but they also are dealing with our day-to-day problems. And most of you may probably even get your boss come in and talk. That's happened more at times. And share with us a little bit of what challenges we're facing and what's going on. Last cohort, we had Mohammed from Cairo. We've had this cohort, we have a lot of people from Turkey. So it's really international. The program will start in October. The application deadline is September 15. Once we know who is in the cohort and how is the cohort, we will set the final details. But what will definitely not change is that the program will be built around the business model canvas, and we will be working around it to make sure we can think about all the aspects we need to build a successful business model, which helps just in building a new program or a new unit or thinking of how we're going to face the future. So in a nutshell, that's a little bit of what goes on in the UNICON Leadership Academy. For those of you from HEC, if you're worried of what has to happen once we're there, we only need a room and some space, and it is parallel to what takes place in the rest of the conference, okay? Questions? What were your expectations of the program? What have you heard? What brought you here? I understand that from HEC, you're thinking of how this will connect with you guys, which would not be this cohort, but next cohort. And it may have changed by then. We don't know. Maybe COVID will be over.
Well, for me, as an interested participant, I think I'm really glad to connect with more universities and to see how we can build partnerships. So I think since it's in the program, that's something I'm really interested on, and also creating more value for the customer. So these are two things that I'm really glad that are in the program. I'm looking forward to learning more about that.
Great, Michelle. Anybody else?
Monica, I'll just add, I've heard about this from a previous participant, actually, Caitlin Dumont, and she told me about it, and so that's kind of how I found out about it. But I've been in higher ed now for years and in different roles, and fairly new, about a year in with exec ed. So for me, it's also kind of a way to learn more about the business and what other colleges are doing. And I'm in an associate director role right now, but I'm looking to grow my career as well. So I think it'll be helpful for that.
It would be very helpful because we have the UNICON conference, and most of the faculty, let's call them faculty, they're the directors of different business schools around the world. Most of them have served on the UNICON board too, and they have a lot to share. And if you know UNICON is a very candid organization where we all share very openly. But if you're at a conference, you don't always have the time to ask the questions or focus deeper into a topic. So the way this is designed is to look at the whole cycle of what we can do. And I think it would be very useful for you, Jason. And the other thing is you really meet some very, very cool people from all over the world and get to learn a lot from them. That's why we're struggling. The conference, the program used to be mostly face-to-face. Now we're at this conundrum on how much face-to-face and how much online do we make it. And I think it all depends, because right now we don't know. The world is changing and shifting so much. And right now, the only thing that stops us from doing better globally is time zones. Time zones are difficult. So that's something we're looking to. And it's something we're looking to as UNICON, by the way. Most of our events don't cater to the East, and that's something we have to take care of. So any of you going to the conference in New York? I think Michelle is.
No, I was supposed to go, but no, I can't go. But Serge and Jean-Marc, we have two representatives that are going.
of course, and we're very happy to have Serge join the UNICON board.
Yes, we're so glad to, but we'll be there in Vancouver. I'll be there for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, well, it's Canada for you. You don't even need a test to get there. Wonderful. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I'm sure you're all pretty busy. Don't you want to ask Kathy anything about the mentorship part of the program? That's one of the best perks you get.
Yeah, we've simplified it. We keep it, but we make it accessible. So it's not overly formal or rigid, but you do have this opportunity to be connected with a group of folks that really support the program and have for the past 6-7 years. So we've got a sort of a cadre of folks, and we keep expanding it. So.
Okay. So nice meeting you. How about you, Jason? Are you going to New York?
I haven't made plans to know. So but my colleagues have gone to the conferences in the past, so they all tell me how great they are and how the connections they made. So I do want to get involved and attend something. So it's getting onto my radar, to be honest. So
yes, but I'm sure that by Vancouver will be much better organized.
Right.
Great, Miguel. Thank you. And I hope Mateo feels better.
Me too.
So, well, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me if it has anything to do with the academic part of the business. If it has to do with how you enroll and everything, please contact Karen Street. And I hope to see at least a few of you in the next cohort.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Monica. Bye.
Bye.